BattleTech. It is the future. Robots fight. Audio cuts out if you take the window out of focus. Go ahead and press the button to engage the magic. So, this is BattleTech, my harebrained schemes, makers of Shadowrun Returns, published by Paradox. Recently having received its first major DLC, Flashpoint, which I've installed. And will proceed to engage in this sponsored stream of BattleTech. Mercenary streaming of mercenary combat robots. For which, like a good chef, I have gone ahead and prepared in advance a file. There's a couple introductory missions that are there to prime the plot and tutorialize you. I find they go a bit overlong. They're probably helpful for someone who's showing up new and knows not of robots and their ways of combat. So this is a save immediately after entering the meat of the game. Here in the saga of the strange frontier entity known as the Meatman. Introduced in the DLC, the other button that was back on the title screen, Career Mode, lets you just jump directly into the sandbox and have no story missions, kind of giving you the side eye from the corner. Just go forth and robot fight for profit among the stars. So here we are. Your plot review to this point. Your mech warrior, whoever they may be, perhaps some sort of meat entity, almost landed themselves a nice gig as a royal bodyguard, but your employer was then betrayed and cooed, and your mentor in your mech company was murdered. And so you were driven out into the wild to resume mercenary work, to continue the endless battle against your gigantic pile of space debt. We have a million communication bills sitting in the bank. This is not much space money when you have to pay for your shuttle and your robots and your various cutting-edge contract killers. Which, at the moment, we're very much operating out of a space garage. We have a shuttle with a machine shop. Anyway, let's go find work? Let's find work. What's work? Let's go fight a crime. No, smugglers up to 177,000 space bucks. Some amount of salvage. So, a part of how this works, there's an amount of value that you're going to be paid. You can choose whether you want it in cash or in salvage rights from all the bits that are going to fall off of your enemy as you fight. Which is a sizable part of how you go about getting more robots and things for those robots. So for example, if you know you're going into somewhere that's going to have some especially fancy toys, you might give up most of your pay to be sure that you get dibs on those good parts. Or here in the early game, where there's not going to be many fancy large machines. I'd rather have the cash to go shopping. And, you know, pay my bills. I can't pay my bills in medium lasers. The bank won't accept that. And there's a whole bunch of factions out there that you can build up reputation with to unlock better missions and get better pay and what have you.
Roger that, Commander. Course plotted.
And off we go. Where there's a space map we navigate about. If you take a job somewhere else, you need to allow for travel time, which is fine because some time is needed anyway. Meatman was wounded during the introductory missions of this run in order to preserve the lives of his other non-immortal compatriots. So right now he's in the tube, reconstituting. Also probably would have been smart to, like, queue up some work in the garage. Space debt. It's out there. It is inescapable. It is correct to say that you owe everything to the space company store. The big old warp beaconish thing that we docked with briefly to jump from one system to another, there is a monopoly that owns those. A spacing guild. The phone company is also the transport company. They back this currency. The C stands for calm. The grim darkness of the robot future, you pay your bills in cell phone minutes. In data. Hey, McBay.
Be with you in a second.
What do we got? We got the blackjack. Indicator. This is the one that actually got chewed up a bit, so we want that fixed. 6 days, so we could get to the job and only need to wait 2 additional days. 14,000 cyberbucks. Have that back online. Roughed up, but not destroyed in any way. Got out of there fine. Shadowhawk, Spider, Locust. Our various fighting robots, which you get to engage with in intense detail. The core appeal of the BattleTech franchise, which began as a board game dating back to the 80s, it starts here. With, okay, here is your vehicle. Customize it intensely. Max have parts, they have an overall weight limit, and you put things in the parts. You have 3 segments to your torso, 2 arms, 2 legs, and your head. You can have hard points in which you are allowed to place weaponry, and then additional just bulk space where you can mount stuff. So here we have an array of lasers, an autocannon in each arm, and just an ammo cube resting in the torso. This is a bad idea, because something ammo cubes can do is explode violently if jostled. This should not be here. This should be anywhere else. This should be stowed safely in something that's farther from the pilot, who will not enjoy having their ammo cook off under their feet. This also has some jump jets. This is equipped to hop. And we have armor that can be stacked up on each segment separately, so there's all manner of shenanigans you can get into when you decide to deeply customize the robot. And go about deciding things like, actually, I don't need any of the stuff I could put on this arm, so I'm going to strip all the armor off, and this arm is now a decoy. It's just a hollow shell to draw bullets away from the important things that I'm going to put over here. Or what have you. It would take another 2 days to adjust that, though, and I can wait around if necessary. Our garage can only be working on a few things at a time right now, because it is just a garage. We don't have, like, a lot of space to be working on things. Let's get Blackjack. Kind of an all-around build at the moment. The medium laser is like the standard bread and butter adequate weapon that you can define everything else relative to. The autocannons here, long range, decent impact. Drawback of being a bulleted weapon. Drawback and advantage of being a bulleted weapon. We can talk a bit about how fighting even works once we have a fight to do. Our Vindicator over here, you can kind of see behind the box here 3 very friendly letters. This is a heavy energy weapon mounted on this. It does good work. It gets a bit warm. Shadowhawk here, mounting a number of missiles of short and long range, and a backup medium laser. A lot of this team also has jets, so we're pretty mobile, pretty flexible. We can get around things and on top of things. Fighter, paramedium lasers, a whole lot of jets, and this is extremely lightweight. Very fast, very quick. It can just put itself wherever it needs to be. And the Locust, even smaller. Laser, machined gun, ammunition thereof. Tiny, dainty little robot. Probably won't see much use. We'll see. As a general thing, you try to work towards having heavier mechs over the course of the campaign. Detailed view of the Meatman. His ways and skills. Go ahead and buy him some numbers.
Training confirmed, Commander.
And while Meatman is in the tube, we do have a full stock of other pilots who can be put to use.
Yes, Commander.
Behemoth, an absolute unit, high in guts, possessing much health, much strength.
Standing by.
Decker, who is well known for not surviving to even get to the campaign proper, because he starts off piloting your lightest robot. He'll be fine. Decker will live. Decker must live.
Waiting for orders.
Glitch, who is just very happy to be here out on the killing field. They have backstories. They do all have data. Which, for the most part, all these traits don't do anything in the context of this basic campaign.
Standing by.
It is a fairly raw sandbox, but a very serviceable one. And Medusa. It's Medusa. Perfectly adequate stat line.
Good to go.
Nothing wrong with Medusa.
What do you need?
And for the most part, the rest of the team doesn't have a lot of extra XP to throw around at the moment. So you have 4 numbers: gunnery, piloting, guts, tactics. They all have general use on the small pips, and then active skills that you can unlock when you buy 2 of these larger ones. Like bonus evasion from movement. Split your attacks between multiple targets. Be huge. And be able to ping targets so that others can fire at them from outside normal range. Or, okay, this one specifically cuts down enemy evasion by properly painting targets for friendlies.
Orders.
Aye, aye.
I may as well have you work towards that. You're a tactician. You need that deadly gaze.
Waiting on you, Commander.
Ready for orders.
Decker will survive as long as he can outrun the bullets. Just be fast, Decker.
Warrior training
Waiting
He'll
for
be
orders.
fine.
Wait.
What's...
Receiving you.
Yeah?
Anyway, let's get to that job. Alright. So, wait that additional time to get our mech work done.
Job's done, Commander.
And let's go do a fight. Need to deploy up to 4 robots. Through them however you'd like. There is space here for a weight limit for your deployment. But the way the campaign is paced out, difficulty curve-wise, you are never going to hit your weight limit. It's always going to be enough to put the 4 heaviest things you have found thus far. BattleTech had some performance issues on release, which is why I put off streaming it for a good while. These have generally improved with patches over time. Load times in particular used to be much longer. This is already comparatively brisk. I also do have this installed on a regular disk rather than on solid state at the moment.
Command interface initiated.
Good to go, Commander.
Alright. Here we are. On the battling field. Whereby to tech. So, battlefields are hexagonal. With the assets do a pretty good job of not making it look too grid-ish. Tiles are pretty well masked. Everything about BattleTech looks pretty nice. A lot of these models are actually from MechWarrior Online, I believe. They, like, partnered up with the makers there to get already high detail models of all these known robot forms. Since we're not in a fight yet, you can just kind of free-formedly move all your robots about. That will continue until we make contact with something hostile. Primary objective, taking out this smuggler base. Optional objective, destroy everyone and everything else that we encounter on the way. So, bots have movement. They have an amount of movement that's regular speed, and then an amount of movement that's higher speed. Sprinting has the organic trade-off of you're harder to hit while sprinting, but also have a harder time shooting back. And there is facing. Facing is extremely important in BattleTech, because you have all these locations to independently damage. Which side you're showing the enemy and which side of the enemy you're looking at matter. You also have all these lines here are the firing arcs and optimal ranges of our various weapons.
heading out. On my way.
Alright, so now that we have contact, the actual initiative system shows up here. So we have 4 layers of initiative. Where the baseline is a robot, by its weight class, goes into one of these slots. And then the lightest robots get to all go first before the mediums and the heavies and the super heavies. And then various things can be done to modify when you are acting. This is something that probably contributes a lot to getting Decker killed, since he starts in a light, and so you think to keep him in lights, and so you open your round by sending him out into danger to find things, and then leaving him without any support. As you do. Let's see, we got right there. Building, building, building. Only one known gun on this, but there's probably more guns on the rest of the wall. Probably. Can't quite get across the road into those woods. The red line there indicates that we will have line of sight on that if we're standing in that location. Or say, the dotted line here means something would be in the way. Being that rock there. Which isn't a bad thing if I just want to keep him out of view for the moment. I want him to go scout.
Sensors have something.
Alright, 2 unknown robots on the road. No valid targets for him, so you just brace for impact. Stay safe up there. He's got all this evasion on him right now. He'll be fine. Besides, they don't know we're here yet. They're still playing it cool. So just because it's visible here. So the first thing that comes up to Lightning Manipulate Initiative is a mech can always choose to wait and act in a later initiative phase if you want to coordinate a lighter mech with a heavier one.
Good to go.
Pretty straightforward autocannon turret. Just has the one piece, and its health is almost entirely armor. Everything has up to 2 kinds of health. Structure, which is the actual vital meat, and a blade of armor, which needs to be smashed through and can sometimes be bypassed, depending on what you have. So, 97 health. You can fire up to all of your weapons, which all carries its own risks. Let's just use the energy for now. I want to save the missiles for things that can fall down.
Acknowledged.
As you do.
Reporting negative damage.
You tried.
What can I do for you?
It's your first day. Don't worry about it. Get you over to the woods. And light this up with the autocannons. Much better.
Standing by.
I do want to get someone over to these woods, because that's a good position for fighting over the road. If these keep moving forward and don't notice Decker, he can, like, scoot around the rocks and flank them. Behemoth is our heaviest pilot and our heaviest robot. If anyone can take risks, it's her. And you're in range of everything. You get to feel this.
Confirmed. Turret destroyed.
So yes, with that in mind, I'm actually going to have him wait and see what these enemy lights do. Because if they keep moving forward, then he gets to go and be a champion. He's fine. So each of these little chevrons here. That is evasion. You build it up by going fast, or being good at maneuvering. They reduce inbound enemy accuracy, and shots fired at you ablate your evasion, as your opponents kind of sight in on you and get a sense of where you are. One Locust, one Jenner.
Receiving you.
What if Decker pops over here? Get up on the tallest object you can find. Okay, 30 accuracy, not great. How about against the side of that Locust? 35, better. But also, what if I have other robots wear down their evasion first? Well, I already am finishing Decker's turn. Should have thought of this before putting him up here. Oh, well, we'll take the shots.
Negative damage. Repeat. Negative damage.
What's up, boss?
Okay, second turret is known.
Affirmative.
Yeah, accuracy on all these little fellas is still pretty terrible since they're quite wiggly. But what if I just lay into you? How about more weapons?
No luck.
Aye, aye.
Good to go.
Also on display here among my actions. So we have this morale bar. It can be accumulated and then spent on special moves, like called shots to specific target points, or especially good defense, things like that.
Got it. Yeah, critical hit.
So once you manage to get through the armor and start damaging structure, hits can begin to disable active components of the robot. %60 accuracy from this far out. And the torso is exposed. Yeah, precision shot plays out here for you. The odds of hitting each individual part with a given shot. You can have that focus up. And multi-shot weapons, like the missile rack, are separately rolling where each projectile will land. So those are very good for trying to exploit gaps in the armor that you've created.
Taking the shot. Target's taking a critical hit.
Reporting. Minimal damage.
Status normal. Things are fine. Much more pain has been put into this Jenner now. It's having a terrible day. And we don't have that much heat built up yet.
Standing by.
Yeah, you aren't dodging anymore, so lasers can just kind of get to work on you. Although the back still has armor. Only the front armor has been ripped off.
Affirmative.
Back armor is by and large much worse than front armor. Looking good.
My armor's getting stripped off.
Looking good.
Ready for orders. Waiting for orders.
Let's get you up into laser
I'm ready,
range.
Commander. Moving out.
Like good laser range. Leave out the cannons and just beam.
And stay down.
So there are 3 ways to defeat a robot. Either destroy the center torso. Okay, 4 ways. Destroy the center torso, destroy the head, destroy both legs, or otherwise incapacitate the pilot. Destroying the head immediately kills the pilot, so that's kind of a subset of kill the pilot.
Ready for orders.
I'll have Medusa head over here and start engaging that turret.
Locked on.
The main difference between those sorts of kills that the player will care about is they affect how much salvage is left behind of the robot after you have otherwise ruined its day. The arc here indicates that we have an indirect shot that we can take against a target, but not a direct shot. Our LRMs are an indirect weapon, whereas the rest of these need to fire more cleanly. You don't need to move at all.
Targeting for an alpha strike.
Just suppress that bug.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Good to go. Roger. Roger that. Critical hit, Commander.
I suspect another thing that contributes to a lot of people's deckers getting murdered is, from what I have seen of other people playing BattleTech, there's a lot of underuse and undervaluing of the jump jet and its ability to put you wherever you damn well feel like. Positioning is important. Positioning saves lives by ending lives. So a light LRM turret, 2 LRM-10s, versus 1 LRM-5 and a medium laser. Yeah, keep on this. Get it out of my way.
One less turret.
Waiting on you, Commander. On my way.
Most of my prior experience with the BattleTech franchise is actually from MechWarrior. Mostly 2. Back in the day, much of that occurred in my life. So, heat. One of the other main things of BattleTech. Weapons are hot. Very hot. Too much hot is bad for mech. So, all of your equipment costs heat to use. You can release an amount of heat each turn. Too much heat and you will explode. Although this is just the point where you can self-damage a bit. You have to get like all the way up there to explode. Well, you get forced to shut down first, and then if you push things even harder, then you might explode. This is one of the dynamics between energy weapons and projectile weapons. In general, energy weapons cost more heat per whatever else they are doing, but don't need to worry about ammo.
Yes,
Whereas bullets cost less heat, but you need to store bullets somewhere.
Roger.
When an enemy is knocked down, you get free cult shots on them. To do as you will.
That's a kill.
One of the other bars there was stability, which various weapon hits can build up. If you have too much instability accumulated, you fall
Standing
down.
by.
This is also part of what balances jump jets. Jump jets cost a lot of heat, especially if you want to jump very far.
Aye, aye.
Bracing restores some stability and vents some extra heat.
Good to go.
There's an achievement pop-up that happened for taking out that downed opponent that hasn't gone away. It's not being captured. You know, Capture's good about that and doesn't grab the Steam overlay. It's still there, though. You had your chance.
Firing. I hear ya. Moving out.
I guess it lives here now. I can just look over at the capture window and see that it's in an awkward position, because right here, that's the outline of it I'm tracing. That's where the weapon list is, where I need to go to select what I'm firing.
Got it.
It's fine.
That would be a miss.
Yes, Commander. Confirmed.
I'm surprised no one can see that gun yet. That's weird.
Taking the shot. That's a miss.
Receiving you. On it.
Guess that's Decker's job now. Flamethrowers and SRMs.
Affirmative.
Commander.
And as you can kind of see out of the corner of the eye there, stationary emplacements have lowest speed initiative. They have none initiative.
Good to go. Uh-huh.
That gun is probably the one remaining threat. Well, definitely, since they gave us the objective for taking out the garrison. We proceed at
Tell me
leisure.
what to shoot.
Orders. Move into position.
Ammo doesn't cost you anything. You have to pay for the storage bins and the implied mechanisms that are being used to load the ammo from those bins to your weapons. But actually refilling them is just an assumed part of your day-to-day expenses.
Waiting for orders.
We don't need to worry about counting the bullets.
Target confirmed.
Good shot, Commander. Enemy structure down.
Yes, Commander. Locked on target.
A fine day's work. It's a starter mission. This was rated half a skull out of 5 skulls on the official mech review board.
Standing by. Position confirmed.
It is part of the nature of the skull rating system that it's not always entirely accurate. Okay, one more turret in the corner there.
Acknowledged.
I'd know.
Lucky that one.
The skull ratings essentially correspond to tonnage of enemies that you're going to see.
Acknowledged.
and there's some room for deviation.
Locking on. Target destroyed. What can I do for you? Don't need to tell me twice.
And now, a mechanic I've heard about, but not seen anyone demonstrate, so it could be a manner of uncle rumors, but I've seen it said that if you are on a mission that was underestimated by recon, if the skull rating was underweighted for how much stuff was actually there, you are allowed to withdraw from that mission without penalty, because your employer lied to you. They misjudged the threat and are in fact not paying you enough for this ship, and the mech review board will have your back on that. Now, of course, if you do then proceed to defeat all of those extra enemies, you get bonus pay, and bonus stuff from having defeated them. That's up to you.
Target acquired. Damn it.
Yes, Commander. On my way. Confirmed. I hear ya. Got it. Time to die.
What do you need? Move order received. Engaging with targets. That one's gone.
Commander? Locked on. Target destroyed.
Get your lance to the LZ, Commander. I'm coming in hot.
And of course, if there's missions with multiple objectives and you're only taking out some but not the others, you usually have to evacuate to somewhere in order to get things sorted out to complete your robot work. Sometimes there's bonus objectives they didn't mention, but you did them, so get paid. 180,000 space bucks. This next button is entirely behind the achievement. I'm gonna restart the game once we're done processing this and save. Just to get that out of the way. I tried opening the Steam overlay and that didn't dismiss this strangeness. Well, wait, maybe if I... No, it doesn't seem to be anything directly available for that there. Yep, everyone lived. Nobody took any structure damage, so we don't need to spend any time in the garage. Armor is automatically replaced.
Beep.
It's a blade of armor. It's made to be destroyed. And of our salvage. So how this works is you will get, based on what you negotiated for in your contract, you get to dib a number of known items from the pool. So like, I'm going to grab this 1/3 of a Jenner that didn't get exploded. And then additionally, you'll be dealt a random share of the rest based on the total salvage that you earned. So we're going to get 3 more of these at random. For an estimated value of 3.5 million space bucks. Although a lot of that is inflated by mech parts being hypothetically worth a lot as capital. You're not going to be able to sell these for that much unless you reassemble the mech. But yeah, a couple medium lasers. And that locust part. A fine opening hall. And that's the fundamental gameplay loop. Take jobs, fight robots, get paid, spend however much of that pay you have to rebuild and reorganize your robots. You can go fight more robots. And survive. We need 250,000 to keep the bank away. At the end of each week. Yeah, just go ahead and do that. Stand by. It's a very strange thing to see. Game can be weird like that. And so yes, the lore. Man went to space and lived in space. And things were okay, and then weren't. A large space empire existed, has gone into a bit of decline, has fractured into warring factions. Said factions are in the middle of fighting it out. As you do. From which you have yourself some space medievalism of battle mechs are extremely large, robust, intense machines that, if well cared for, can last for generations. And so those are your war horses / your grandfather's sword and armor that are handed down by space knights who are able to maintain these powerful war machines and go about serving various warlords as you do. And then in particular, this game is set very early in the timeline of BattleTech lore, where over the decades to follow, the status quo gets shaken up. All sorts of things happen. There's all sorts of equipment that is out there, but is, at the moment this game is set, very difficult to manufacture due to damage to things during the Space Wars. Factories that were taken out, supply chains that were disrupted, knowledge that was misplaced. The usual. So you do what you can to get by. Ammunition convoy or supply convoy. Two escorts in different environments. This one's local. That takes priority. No travel time. We can just dive right into this. No one was hurt. Nothing was broken. Yeah, so additionally, because of that setting decision, there's also probably a bunch of things you've heard about in relation to MechWarrior that are not present in BattleTech yet, because those are later. Yeah, once again, we'll go for mostly cash, less salvage. Don't want to deploy to it right away, though. Let's do some managing. Let's go shopping. What can I get for $1 million space bucks? Yeah, mech parts, reasonably valuable. Completed mechs, extremely valuable. Wolverine for sale, 6.5 million space bucks. Powerful. 2.1 million for a Locust. Just for this tiny 20 space ton baby robot. This bug. AC-5, LRM-5. There's some parts I'm on the lookout for. There's some things I would like to build. Those can be kind of left as an exercise, though. We'll look for what we can. Yeah, picking up an AC-5 could be nice. We could, well... How much weight do we have to spare on any of our robots if I wanted to rework them? Reasonable amounts. There's also, like, a thing about a lot of the default loadouts that they have here is that they kind of go for multi-purpose, which isn't great in practice. You'd like a given mech to have an optimal range it prefers to engage at, so you can then put as much weight into destroying things at that distance. Yeah, here with the Blackjack we have 4 energy weapon slots and 2 bullet weapon slots. And then our jets. So it'd be preferable to get longer range energy weapons or get medium range bullets, or be willing to scale back on the energy weapons entirely in exchange for instead using larger bullets. Depending on whether you want to set something up. as artillery, or as brawler, or as anything else. There is nothing wrong with ammo and legs. Where else would you put it? Don't worry about it. Could be in the arm. Could be in the face, actually. All that perfectly good vacant space around the pilot's chair, just fill it with bullets. Yes, we have our parts and storage, and we have a pretty light inventory of other stuff to work with at the moment. This LRM-10, though. One large laser. Okay, I can see something to do. What if I pop out... Pop out the medium, pop in a large, which puts us a little overweight, so we'll need to find somewhere else to cut corners. But yeah, let's compare the damage here. Medium's 25 damage for 12 heat. Large, 40 damage for 18 heat. Add longer range. Which is the main thing, yeah, twice the range. Switching from medium to large, and then also maybe investing in a bigger autocannon. That sets this up to be more of an artillery piece. Which then also, if it's fighting from longer range, I can get away with using less armor. Because it's just not going to get surprised. There are these helpful buttons for auto-balancing armor, since you can get very finicky and fine-grained with how much armor you'd like to put on the robot. And where you'd like to put the armor. So that's a start. Trade 2 mediums for a large. And drop some armor. Don't confirm that yet, though, because now let's head back to the shop with that in mind. Laser seller. They do not have large laser. They have small laser. They do not have large laser. Take that AC-5, though.
New weapon systems available.
An ammo bin for it.
New equipment available.
Small laser is so small it goes in. There's a tiny weapon slot, a category that is just small hardpoint, support hardpoint. Small beam, machine gun. Weapons a human could use go in this hardpoint. One of my favorite builds that I ever put together back in MechWarrior 2 was I took whichever of the 100-tonners appeared in there, one of the assaults, and then just filled it with as many machine guns as it could hold. And the results were obscene. It fought at 0 range, but anything it looked at would immediately be reduced to powder. By way of too many bullets. It was a water cutter with bullets. It did good work. So Shadowhawk. You're also built very indecisive right now with your cannon. Your cannon and your missiles. This is a very indecisive robot in how it's kitted out. The left arm doesn't do anything. The left arm is very fake on this machine. One beam, 3 missile racks, one of which is in the face. 3 cannon. Also, yes, there's manufacturer names on all of these, and several of the corporations that still exist in the space future are ones from Earth. Krupp makes lasers. Your General Motors autocannon. Our generic brand cannon ammo. You can just get that from places. Don't worry about it. It's compatible. Enough. The question would be, what do I want to make a sniper, and what do I want to make a brawler?
Beep.
Because I could take this and refit it for short-range missile. Drop the LRMs out. Put in more SRM. Find better SRMs. Put the ammo in the decoy arm. And then, yeah, the laser as a backup weapon for when you're empty. Drop this cannon, move the cannon onto the blackjack, and find more and more missiles to pile into this. How large of missile racks can I get there? Because at the moment, yeah, this is 6, but the hard points don't care about the size of the weapon. Only, like, the number of cubes on the part is affected by the bulk of the weapon. So the face missile rack can only be an SRM-2, but I could get more SRMs if they're available at the shop. Larger SRMs. Don't let the last hour of combat distract you. This is the real game. No launchers available, though. Not on this planet, at least. They have cannon, they have long range. So if that's a build I want to work towards, it's not one that I can implement here and now. So I could do the opposite. Leave the SRM in the face as a surprise. Instead, dump the LRMs. Mount the second cannon here. Slide the ammunition into the arm. The beam is still there as a backup. And then drop the armor. Always welcome. 100 C bits, good for a whole syllable on the Space Comms network. Although, as well... Do I have a... I don't have a small LRM rack. at the moment. Or, no, the LRM-5 is small. If I mount that in the face, keep the LRM ammo, shove that over in the arm as well, and then give you the large laser. Just all of the Reach weaponry. Could also probably drop a heat sink. If I were just doing missiles and bullets, I could definitely drop the heat sinks. But what about a beam? Now the beam's a bit much. The beam is pushing this. Where if I instead trusted no beams... Because also always implicit as a fallback, mechs can do melee combat. You can just kick or punch or headbutt or stomp an opponent. And I have this LRM-10. So 15 LRMs and 2 AC-5s is too much. That would not fit. Unless, well, yeah, drop the heat sinks. Drop the heat sinks, mount that, have no goddamn armor left, but... Alright, now let me think about violence density here. $45 damage for 8 tons versus 40 damage in 5 tons. Yeah, the missile rack is preferable. In fact, with a medium laser, and then... Yeah, we'll ditch cannons from this entirely. We will choose the missile shoulder over the cannon shoulder. We don't have amazing cannons yet to put there. Not when I can instead mount those cannons on the Blackjack. So, 15 LRMs... ammunition for them, and a beam. And full armor, and still weight to spare, so I should go grab another missile rack. One beam to fend off birds, yes. Quick 90,000 space bucks for an LRM-5, that's acceptable.
New weapon systems available.
Properly calibrate that orb. So, the plan. SRM's out. LRM-5 into the face. Jump jets. This still had jump jets the whole time. So, another 15. Now we have 20 LRMs in a salvo. Little more ammo. Max the armor. And still 0.2 tons to spare. I could sneak something else in here, barely. Except probably not really. Not if we don't have any more armor to add. So that's a build. One heatsink. Do heatsinks cost fractional weight? Heatsinks are a single ton. I could do that and drop 0.8 tons of armor. Although, with just the medium laser, this doesn't generate much heat. Yeah, we got 22 heat across the whole spread of LRMs. And then 12 heat just on the laser itself. And then no heat when we've run out of ammo and just start to bayonet things. Bash him on the head with a shovel. Alright, yeah, this seems like a serviceable missile mode. And can become more so if I find even larger missile racks to shove into that shoulder. And the jump jets. We could death from above with this. 20 days of work to refit that.
I'll get it in the schedule.
Which then, that serves as the thing to prevent you from going too all in on constant refitting of robots. Especially here in the early game, you just don't have the time. You can't afford it. Now though, let me consider what it would take to put Moss Gun on the Blackjack. 2 ammo out, 5 ammo in. And then be willing to shed some medium lasers because we're doing cannon damage now. Keep the intermediums. Drop some armor. This would be 15 days of work. Or I could cut back on the jump jets in order to put the lasers back in. Yeah, each individual jet module is half a ton. So if I dropped those completely, that would be the weight of the 2 medium lasers. Or I could sacrifice even more armor. Or split the difference. Or why not both? Instead, like, yeah, weight of a medium laser. Medium laser is a very straightforward standard 1-ton part. What about more AC-5 ammo? Also 1 ton. Let's just sustain the cannons for longer. "19 days of work for this refit.
Log and note.
Okay, so where do I go to rearrange priorities here?
Anything
Do I
can
talk to Yang? No, this is all plot stuff. We have characters. We have folks on the team who have things to say.
come back anytime.
A fine motley crew of space mercenaries. There we go. There's a button. Want that blackjack refit first, since it's the faster job. That'll be ready shortly after we pay our bills. Then Meatman will be back in action. Then we can go on another mission. We have our expenses met. We can afford to wait around.
Waiting on you, Commander.
Guts 4 is a very important stat number to buy. Just 1 additional health, when your base health is 3.
Training confirmed, Commander.
Ready for orders.
Yes,
It's a very helpful "you will not die today" number.
good to go.
I'm here.
Meatman will return.
Mech Warrior training complete.
Yeah, that's a limitation on your builds. You get 2 of these and 1 of these per pilot.
Got a new financial report for you, Commander.
Situation normal. We can spend more on pilot maintenance to improve our baseline morale. For now, rationing will be normal. We're not desperate for cash, but we don't have cash to burn. We're only just getting started. Alright, let's do that contract. Another simple half-skill job. Meatman returns. And we're taking out the Locust. Stay safe, Medusa. What about Behemoth in the Locust? Just to be very sure that whoever's in there comes home alive. You could do that. A tiny Behemoth. It should be fine. Don't worry about it. It's an escort mission. There will be decoys.
Interface initiated.
Okay, yeah, that's very brisk compared to how load times used to be. Greatly improved. If I had this on the SSD, it would probably be quite snappy.
Ready for action.
Alright, rendezvous with convoy here. Bring convoy somewhere else. Or no? Okay, yeah, that's my sensor line. That's how far out I'd be able to detect things. Let's see, buildings, bit of a valley here. Small lake. This hill overlooking everything. Depending on where exactly the fight breaks out. This hill or this plateau here. That'd be the ideal spot to place some sort of large pile of cannons. How far can you jump in your current state? Not very. Not with the one jet. Just a couple of hexes. So I'd have to get you right up there and then hop from, like, maybe here would be in range. For now, we could go into the valley. Or up here might be the better sniping location, just for being more accessible.
Don't need to tell me twice.
Send Decker into the valley because he can jump out of danger the moment he finds the danger.
What's up, boss? Aye, aye. Reporting enemy contact.
There you are. One something. Two something.
Coordinates received.
Yeah, you can sprint into these woods, see what's over there, and then jump up onto the mountain. A lot is what's over here. 2 tanks. 3 tanks, 1 mech.
Receiving you.
Rocky terrain here. That provides some extra defense. Also, he's not quite visible when he's standing away from the edge. You chill out.
Ready for orders.
Ow. No cover if I sprint out to there. There is just plain old. It's also part of the dynamics here that the farther you move, the less you can turn upon arrival. That's the fundamental trade-off you're making when positioning your robots. Move farther for more ground covered and more evasion, or move less to have better control over your facing. Do I really not have... I guess, yeah, since this rock is here for that angle, and then you're kind of around the bend for that one. Yeah, I barely have extreme range on those two. Although, this does mean I have firing arcs for the AC-5s on everybody who's here. Once I can lure them in. Come on over.
What can I do for you?
Orders?
Alright, so what do we got here? One Scorpion, AC-5 machine gun, one Striker, SRMs and LRMs.
On it.
The general dynamic comparing regular vehicles to mechs is these are glass cannons. Tanks are comparatively fragile, but they can carry weapons that are just as dangerous as the ones mechs are carrying.
Waiting for orders.
Potentially even more so. The very heaviest of vehicles can have some really deadly loadouts. And we have this Jenner here. Can't quite get like an angle where I'm still on the high ground and only seeing one of them. Well, but that is also extreme range for the medium laser. I guess I'll take it. That's a shot. That's chipping away the evasion. That helps set up the real weapons. Alright, now. Who will first fall victim to Meatman? Yeah, you can see the total health comparison there, side by side. The Striker, up to 200 armor, 20 structure. Scorpion, 120 and 75. The Jenner, 320, 290. Even smallest mech is big compared to vehicles. However, their guns are real.
All weapons committed. Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
Vehicles also lack an innate melee attack. They cannot stomp.
Waiting on you, Commander.
They're instead, in fact, very vulnerable to stomping.
On my way.
Prioritize removing their one mech. Especially since I got the center all softened up like that. Hey, let's precision.
Got it.
Core destroyed.
And stay down.
In the long run, in this and a lot of the other BattleTech games, you tend towards just making heavier and heavier units and eventually just deploying an assault lance. It's a matter of your cap is, in effect, always the raw unit count of 4 instead of a weight limit,
Good to go.
which is the usual bottleneck.
Heading out.
Which, it's understandable. 4 is about the right number of units to manage under this framework.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
Orders.
Where if tonnage were the main restriction, then the deal would be, I could send one 100-ton assault mech or 5 20-ton light mechs and have them pull off shenanigans of scouting and flanking and surrounding and otherwise being rude to my opposition.
Copy that.
Now, the kind of weaponry that you can fit on that 100-ton mech will often do the work
Copy that.
well in excess of those 5 lights. It depends on what it is.
Internal structure damage.
Don't worry about it. You're fine.
Enemy unit destroyed.
I hear ya. Moving out. Time to die.
Orders.
I will not quite DFA. So this move sitting over here with its very large damage number. That's just directly drop-kicking onto an enemy with your full many space tons of metal self for large damage and then snap back damage to yourself.
Confirmed.
You want to build around that so you can make a unit that can pull that off and survive regularly. I'm just gonna do this, though.
Commander.
And you don't have any lines of fire. Unfortunate. You're just gonna scoot over there.
Location confirmed.
Like, there are modules you can get to reinforce the legs of the robot so it takes less DFA damage. Because normally what you're probably doing when you drop a robot, just dead drop it in free fall, is you are destroying its legs, at least. And then hopefully doing 2 legs worth of damage to whatever it landed on.
Here we go. Knocked out a vehicle.
Alright, so now we're waiting to see if anybody shows up. Oh, and yeah, we're out of engagement. We're back to non-combat movement.
Got it.
Now, the escort. Who, over there. There they go. Also, other terrain stuff. Mechs are waterproof, naturally, and putting them into water, like, gives bonus heat removal. Nature's heat sink. A lake.
Roger that.
Waterproof unless they've been carved open by explosions. Waterproof when working as designed. They're space-proof when working as designed. Now, given that this is only a half-skull mission, we may have defeated all of the hostiles immediately in our opening scuffle.
Uh-huh.
I copy.
Coordinates received.
There might be another enemy group near the drop point. Maybe not. We'll see.
Moving out.
Moving to position.
Alright, looks like that's the edge of the map, so they're probably not coming from here. Probably. Maybe. Maybe.
my way.
Yeah, I think we're fine. We'd have detected anything else by now. We're just waiting for the convoy to get there.
On the move.
You betcha.
Yeah, unless they're planning to, like, spawn in. Warning points for where the actual landing of the ship is going to be. Don't be under that, you will be crushed.
Acknowledged. Good to go. I read you, Commander. Moving out.
Stabilizing and bracing.
Roger that. Digging in.
Hold this position, Commander. The package will be on its way soon.
Good. We haven't killed enough. Now, where will they arrive from?
You betcha.
Aye, aye.
Affirmative.
Although if the enemy doesn't show up before we leave, then
Stabilizing.
Well, that's their fault.
The objective is secured, Commander.
Okay, now we have our own separate evac and may kill at our leisure. Very well then, let's see who showed up.
Waiting for orders. Acknowledged.
Couple of mystery dots.
Don't need to tell me twice.
Move order received.
Dos mech. Panther. Hey, buddy.
Receiving you. On it.
Well, I'm over here now.
Standing by.
Yeah, so my mediums can be up about here. So this is where the kill zone is going to happen. Yeah, just vigilance up. Face the enemy. Get braced. You hold position.
Full throttle.
I hear ya. Sprinting. Good to go.
Right, vigilance pushes you ahead in initiative step. You're now over first. Let's reserve that. I want you two to come in here, and then I will react.
Ready for orders.
Like so. He's got that particle projector.
Your gold is always welcome here.
Small bot, powerful enough to deploy that usually more medium weapon. Always welcome. And yeah, eventually there's gonna be clan content. We'll get to see all the fighting robot animal friends.
I copy.
Their whole deal of being a devout, honorable space warrior society whose code of behavior includes a bunch of sensible military doctrines.
Losing armor. Standing by.
for reasons that in their own way are neat. Alright, so this is an opportunity. And so machine guns, what keeps these relevant is they're not great at piercing armor, but they do a lot of work if you can point them in exposed structure. Like this left torso. Especially since they fire many small attacks.
Scored a critical hit.
All weapons committed.
Goodbye.
Enemy mech destroyed.
Also, yes, the clans have a mix of sensible military doctrines and dumb sci-fi garbage. It is the lore of a 30-year-old board, almost 40-year-old board game? Soon. It's an old board game. It's 80s science fiction. It's going to be, in great part, dumb by weight. And then in some parts, salvageable. It's the nature of these things.
Reporting internal damage.
This is your dad's science fiction.
Commander?
Your dad or strange uncle.
Commander. Moving to position.
In some branches of the canon, mech warriors do not wear pants while operating their vehicles. It's too damn hot. Nobody bothers. Short shorts and neuro helmet. In you go. Really? Do you have an arc? You have an arc. Alright then. It's a bit obscured, but it's an arc.
Weapons committed. Enemy mech critical damage detected.
Waiting on you, Commander. Moving out.
Warning. Armor low.
So we've taken a couple structure hits during this mission,
Yes, Commander.
which will require some garage time. But for the most part, been a fine stand-up fight. No parts destroyed, no bits lost. No, you're slightly out of range from here. Alright, let me adjust.
Copy that. Copy that. Solid connection on that one.
Solid connecting.
Good to go. Affirmative.
Locust doesn't have much of a punch, seeing as it has no arms. It has a headbutt. So we'll just close in and gun.
Reporting critical hit. do for you?
Now the Vindicator.
This is gonna be good.
Also, so a benefit of the small weapons, when you go into melee, all of your support weapons get a free shot. So small lasers and machine guns are usable as supplements for a punch or a stomp. Alright, $250,000 space bucks. There's our bills paid in one mission. As long as you do a fight or two a month, you'll break even. And then also make progress because you're getting loot. Little bits of structure damage. Not much. That'll take an afternoon. Enter part, Locust part, Panther part, get over here. Couple AC-5s. Another LRM-10 is welcome to see. Bunch of medium lasers. Browning machine guns. Like, actually, literally that Browning machine gun. Still in use 1,000 years later. It works! SRM-6, good to see. I could start to build a missile brawler on having that. Bunch of jump jets, bunch of ammo packs. Yeah, I'll probably start asking for more salvage draft. Now that cash is known. Alright, time for plot. So yeah, the campaign, the plot, it has fairly bare bones. It's a pretty straightforward, linear progression of events. It's a good framework, though. So Harebrained Scheme's last big thing they did the Shadowrun's Return series, and the life cycle for that was base Shadowrun Returns was very sparse, but it got the engine out the door, and the engine was good, and had mod tools with it right away. So people made their own campaigns. And then, once Harebrained Schemes had money, they made Dragonfall and Hong Kong, which are both very solid single-player RPG campaigns. I would expect much of the same from BattleTech. What this did was get the sandbox and the fundamentals made. We'll probably see more elaborate campaigns as parts of future DLC, or just as something the community might come up with. How does anyone know who we are? The Meatman is not well known. And yes, as part of the helpful thing for that, there's all this hypertext in the dialogue where you can mouse over and get lore about stuff. Like the review board that's been out there for a while, being the official mercenary board. Lore things. Yeah, like there's dialogue options that cue off of tags that you gave your character. They don't amount to much. They're just kind of, yes, I am from space. Meatman agrees. our mystery client. Where also, very strongly advised, if you are playing this campaign, proceed forward with the plot for a little bit. Don't faff about the moment you hit the sandbox indefinitely. Because one, during this opening act, you're restricted to a very small chunk of space. Just these 4 systems, and like, there are tags on this planet that describe what kind of jobs it will generate and what kind of stuff will be available. If we're out on some bullshit farm world in the middle of nowhere, they're not going to have many fancy robot parts. Whereas if we move forward with the plot, we start to unlock travel rights to go more places and do more things. And that furthermore, we don't spend the entire campaign operating out of the garage here. You'd like to progress forward until you earn the real ship. So, let's see here. Let's review. So we have the Blackjack outfit with the larger guns. Fighter needs repair, Locust needs repair. Yeah, 3 days to fix these up. Most of your repairs will get to happen just during travel time between jobs. Another 18 days to refit the Shadowhawk. Although you can also stop the job midway. It's been progressing. So some of the work is done and paid for already. And we want to think about how else we're going to change these up. Take a look at the layout on the Vindicator. Where mostly this is the main event. The Vindicator is a PPC carrier, that's its iconic thing it does. So we might consider additional beam, and then probably drop the LRMs in order to put more heat sinks or more beams. Because a single LRM 5 rack isn't doing much. When instead we could be moving to beam range and applying the beam. Or also I'd consider dropping that medium or another support weapon, or moving the small laser into the face and leaving this arm vacant, or yeah, have one weapon in each arm just to spread out the risk when getting shot at. Large beam and large beam. Well, beam and beam adjacent. And let's see, how much heat is that right now? Because we already have the torso full of a bunch of heat sinks. So the PPC, 35 heat. The large laser, another 18 heat. And if I were to put mediums back in, they'd be 12 heat each. For 1 ton. So that's 30 heat on this arm. And another 47 heat on this arm. Yeah, there's somewhere on this UI that sums up heat efficiency, doesn't it? Maybe. Ah, right, up here, in this zone, where we have vague measurements of overall firepower, mobility, durability, range, melee capability, heat efficiency, which will drop drastically if I put on this many beams. An 83 heat alpha strike, although that's also including the small laser. 48 heat sink. So it takes 2 turns to cool off from full power. Or, to put it another way, we could fire half of these weapons at any given time and break even. We do have more heatsink. I could drop the jets. I haven't had this jump anywhere. Although having this jump somewhere and drop all these beams on a target would also be pretty wild. Heatsinks weigh a ton each for another 3 heat. What will survive this many beams? Not much. It's a good number of beams. I won't queue it up for now, just because we already have something in the works, but keep this in mind. Remember, beams. So, our one skull plot mission is out there. Or we could continue to tool around. We could go to Space Detroit. It's a small mission. Space royalty. Space royalty that needs work under the table. Meatman is interested. By the way, our space jet, nothing will ever put numbers on the space jet. It is not something you defeat, it is a fact of life. It is a force of nature. Debt is. A derelict ship. And yeah, just to pop back into the barracks here. Meatman's human name is Seamus Horton.
Receiving you.
Meatman is comprised mostly of Seamus Horton.
Standing by.
I hear ya.
Yes, Commander.
Yes, Commander.
So, general build ideas, thinking Behemoth, piloting Guts, end up in a short-range brawler, proper melee bot.
Training complete.
Meatman, probably guns piloting, maybe guns and tactics, depending on what the eventual meat mech will become.
Commander?
Decker, piloting tactics. Just go fast, think fast, you will live.
Good to go.
Glitch, guns and guts.
Yeah.
Be brave, be decisive. Medusa, tactics, second skill, undecided.
Hey, Commander. Pull up a chair.
By your command.
Engines primed. All hands prepare for transition to thrust gravity.
And yes, as mentioned, travel times can be pretty substantial, so a lot of the stuff that you do over time will just happen for free because you're spending that long to get to your next job. Morale improves. And yeah, this is about the right timeline. Refit the Shadowhawk, repair the spider, the Locust can wait, and we will do the mission once the spider is active.
We've entered orbit, Commander.
Alright. Allow a weekend for parts to get fixed up. What's in the local shop? Trunk of a blackjack. And it's... Hey, flamethrower.
New weapon systems available.
Welcome aboard, flamethrower.
New weapon systems available.
I'll take both. So the flamethrower's deal, as one might expect. Well, I can't look at the small robots, but that's a lot of support slots over there on a tiny robot. Gotcha thinking about... Alright, over to components. So the flamethrower deals heat damage. Pile up a bunch of flamethrowers and you can roast an enemy mech alive. Boil off the unwanted interior bits and leave the shell intact. I want to build a flame mech. And there are a couple of chassis that are intended for use as flamethrower delivery systems. Close quarters weapon. Also notable, doesn't generate any heat for the wielder. Well, I suppose none of the support weapons really do. They're too small. They don't get warm enough to count on giant robot scales. Alright, the Hawk is back, refit for many missiles. After this mission, we'll have a think about rebuilding the Vindicator. The Spider's kind of good as is. This is mediocre for weaponry, but mediocre's fine. It's doing its job of jumping into strange places and dropping rocks on people. Nothing wrong with that. Mystery Moon. Yes, FDL travel in MechWarrior involves a lot of big old fixed points and large infrastructure to fling things places. Not all of which is on the official grid. Local Bandit Queen. How light is light? They might have a Lance of Smalls in poor condition. They are mostly car and gun. The Tortuga Dominions. The Crime Stars. Go in, take out anti-aircraft guns, so the salvage crew can drop in and fix this 200-year-old shipwreck and put it back in space. A fine day's work. Yeah, so glitch in the Hawk. Or, no, glitch in the Vindicator. Medusa in the Hawk. For that improved indirect, in case we need to take indirect shots. Local resistance, skull and a half. In moon terrain.
Command interface initiated.
Alright, here we are. And as mentioned in the text there, it'll often be the case that a fort of some sort will have generators and other vital structures that if you destroy those, it knocks out additional things. So let's see, we got this hill here that overlooks both of those generators. Edge of the map here. And yeah, the target itself. There it is. A boat. A boat and surrounding pirate camp. So probably looking to approach from, okay, there's an opening in the wall here. And not everyone is jump capable, so we'll have to use the door. That would be compatible with going this way. Let's go this way.
What do you need?
Spotted our first turret.
What's up, boss? Got it.
So this should still be hidden. Better sensor picture. Plan would be to hop up here, open up on the generator. Might have a firing line from right there. And if not, Medusa can back him up from the valley.
Moving out.
With all those missiles. Or no, that was Glitch who I just moved. Well, never mind. Yeah, Meatman covers the flank. Both of these two can group up here. And the first real turn of the map begins. Careful target selection. So both of those are probably attached to this generator. and then this one would be running guns like up on this ridge. Question becomes, how much of the generator can I defeat with Decker? With Decker for startup, and then the other two to follow.
Standing by. Firing jump jet.
No one else singing this. Wake up, you idiots. We've got company.
But they're driving
Pirates.
giant battle mechs. We can't fight against
Beams.
Any more objections?
Beams, beams, building.
Get out there and fight.
Alright, and we can also hit the radar tower from here. First, though, turrets.
Firing on target.
Some vehicles detected.
Aye, aye.
$50 health left in it. We're carrying 240 missiles. That's enough. It's enough.
Target destroyed.
So a bunch of medium vehicles. Medium or large light. Okay, that turret belongs to that generator. We've taken one.
Time to fly!
And the Vindicator is still on standard loadout. It has not yet been augmented. Beam plan remains in storage. Soon, though.
Engaging target. Target destroyed.
They're beeping out there.
Orders.
So, who's next? That's a bit much. Yeah, probably hop in here and then wait to ambush whichever side shows itself first. Since they probably can't get a good angle on what's in here.
Roger that.
And we get our sensor picture of the full opposing force. So another turret to take out with that generator.
Firing.
Also, probably for the best that we didn't go all in on beam build elsewhere. Moon environment is a bit warm. Vacuum insulates very well.
Yes, Commander. Got a lock.
Alright, so yeah, using sensor lock gives us additional information about things. There's levels of scanning. Most of the electronic warfare stuff that's present elsewhere in BattleTech, the franchise is not yet in BattleTech this game. Like, there are whole mech classes that are all about having EVE warfare equipment and using it to mess with people.
Tell me what to shoot.
Yeah, the tower can wait.
Engaging target. Enemy unit destroyed.
Let's get this vehicle squad under control.
Warning. Armor breached. Internal damage.
Vicious.
Warning. Armor breached. Internal damage.
Waiting for orders.
Decker is very warm right now. Cannot afford more jumps.
Moving out.
Can afford to get a sight picture on the enemy, though. And apply some beams.
Acknowledged. Good to go.
Alright, so I can probably... No, can't quite get a direct attack on the Bulldog there. Don't have a direct line on anybody.
Position confirmed.
Still a pretty good range bracket, though.
Firing.
Good to go.
For missiles, the raw damage they deal isn't amazing. But They do a lot of stability damage is their main thing. A well-kitted out missile boat can put any mech on the floor in 2 volleys. And that's because they put in a hard limit of you can't go from standing up to knocked down in a single strike. You have to be first made unsteady, and then the next hit puts you down.
Got it.
Yeah, it's getting to laser range. You need to die. Vehicles are already as stable as they get. You don't get to flip them. Unfortunate, but that's how it is. Okay, yeah, the arm was opened up. Not using a lot of armor.
All weapons committed. Enemy unit destroyed.
It's a fairly gun-heavy setup at the moment. Alright, now Decker should probably escape. 2 tanks is a bit feisty, even if it's just these little guys. Decker needs to disengage and wait for the rest of the team to catch up.
Commander?
Which, since jets are still out of the question... Yeah, just head over here. Yeah, pull back and brace, because I think your next turn then is to jump up on this hill and shoot the other generator.
Standing by.
Or Meatman will disable the generator. It is right there.
Engaging target.
Close. Decker will finish it off then.
Destroyed.
Or it's dead. It takes a while for attack animations to play out.
I hear ya.
Understandably so. Since they want to be sure that you're able to parse what each weapon is doing. He's fine. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Ready for orders.
The man is a professional.
Affirmative. One more for the trash heap.
Alright, now I will spare some time to take out the objectives. Since I have people who can't get to the remaining enemies anyway.
Engaging target. No damage detected.
What can I do for you? Got it. Uh-huh.
Autocannon is a high priority target.
Ready for orders.
Large autocannons cannot be forgiven.
Got it.
They present extreme danger.
Acknowledged. Move her down.
The very largest of autocannons is good enough to headshot like any mech that exists. It is very unlikely to strike the head of a mech. But if you only need the one hit,
Receiving you.
Waiting for orders. I read you, Commander. Moving out. Take this. Smoked 'em.
Yeah. On it.
okay, I put myself out of laser range. Unfortunate.
I copy.
Spare a couple of missiles to finish this off.
Done. What's next?
Yeah, there we go. I can fire the cannons and still be at a net loss for heat.
Engaging target.
Good to go. Target confirmed. Negative damage. Repeat. Negative damage. Waiting for
He's
orders.
doing his best. That's all we ask.
Engaging target.
Team, come on. It's just a tube.
Got it. Here we go.
Alright, back to all range mode.
Coordinates received.
Jump down over here.
Acknowledged. Watch my heat. I'm taking damage.
It's fine. He's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, you also have to...
I leap. I soar.
Just having a good time.
Move order received. Aye, aye.
You betcha.
Position confirmed.
Yeah, so overheating does mild everywhere damage. He got sizzled. Just a bit singed.
Commander. On my way.
Uh-huh.
Roger.
Fresh orb coming in hot.
All right, people, you know what to do. Marines, clear the ship of pirates.
With pleasure, Dr. Murad.
Alright. Now we hold.
Location confirmed.
Standing on top of destroyable buildings, probably unwise. Good spots, probably either this mountain or, like, if I could stand on the Argo itself. That would do work.
On my way.
Or we can just hang out on the ground. The whole team is here, we can direct a lot of firepower at whoever shows their face first. commando.
Waiting for orders.
Just a commando.
Up high. Inflicted some heavy damage.
Alright, so we got General around the corner. One more unidentified small. 2 more vehicles.
Yep. Heading out.
Waiting on you, Commander.
Alright, Glitch can get the direct shot
My way.
on the commando.
Roger that. Firing on target.
Should have called that for the torso to guarantee the kill. Well, guarantee. To firm up the kill.
Critical hit.
But it's okay. He falls down. He's not going anywhere for a while. Beam tank. Yes, this is the start of a full playthrough. I've decided to begin today in pursuit of sponsorship
All weapons committed.
for this sponsored content, which is occurring.
Dr. Moran,
But I am putting this into the scheduled rotation.
down in the Argo's main hallway. Bravo squad is holding the door to engineering, but you better hurry up.
Sergeant?
Now that I have this confirmation that the game's in a pretty good state. All launch jitters have been cleared up. So let's see, staying up here is very high risk since we got a lot of folks looking at us. That autocannon, that beam. On the other hand, staying up here, I can finish off the commando very cleanly. Yeah, I'll take that. And then the rest of the team moves up to engage the others. And a whole locust.
What can I do for you? Uh-huh.
It's still alive, though. Well, fortunately, I have this move. So with multi-target, you can paint multiple targets and then divide your weapons between them. So, like, I'm probably not going to need the missiles to finish off this commando. Or the PPC to finish off this commando. Or, I only have indirect fire on that, so the PPC will help finish off this commando. But the missiles will be chipping away at the Jenner instead.
Line them up and I'll shoot them down, Commander.
Yeah, so the two tanks pose a fair danger to Decker. Were he not an absolute professional, entirely prepared for whatever he will face in the field.
Receiving you.
Yeah, they got I'm at kind of prime attacking range right now. So, who gets it? Yeah, the Galleon. Let's try to preempt its action with missiles to its body.
Reporting. Vehicle destroyed.
There we go. That was the only opposing unit that was still waiting to move. Now, Meatman can begin to circle around, close the net on these mechs. Yeah, so it's very hard to hit the center from the side because the side's in the way. We can try for it, though.
All weapons committed. Enemy mech destroyed.
Dr. Murad, what's happening in there? Come in, Doctor.
A little busy. The pirates are dead. But so are half of my engineers. It's an unholy mess in here. Bodies everywhere.
Down an arm, but was Decker even keeping anything in his arms?
Lying again. I need an update.
Look, do you want me to talk or do you want me to fix the damn ship? You do your job, I'll do mine.
Can't afford the heat for more beams, so yeah, just brace. Just hold out. Keep an eye on things. You've done your job.
All weapons committed. Enemy mech destroyed.
Good to go. Coordinates received.
Give him the stomps!
Bye-bye.
What's left? There's allegedly 2 more pirate reinforcements somewhere, but I don't see them. Were there more guns hiding? Also, yeah, every time a melee attack finishes the job and then the support weapon is just an insult.
Coordinates received.
Anybody out there? Ah, of course, the boss. Hi there. You with your quick draw. That is a larger mech than anything else that's present on the field.
Receiving you.
But as they mentioned, it has limits. You don't have the range to engage them from on the wall. And you still have heat problems to deal with. So you just play it cool. In fact, keep standing this way since you have more armor on your right side right now.
Hunkering down.
Yeah, enemy Shadowhawk to deal with.
I hear ya.
Alright, so let's get a look at the main event over there. The captain. So, as they described, this mech is big, but it's using only a very small fraction of its armor. It is in poor repair.
Time to die.
Also, because it's officially a heavy mech, it's moving more slowly than we are. We get that extra initiative layer with which to deal.
On my way.
And if I were willing to plan out a very particular surgical assault, this would be a really good early capture. I'm not worried about doing that, though. I've done that before in other mech games. Played some of Mech Commander 1. I bothered to capture the Hollander that shows up in, like, Mission 1 or 2 for an early Gauss rifle. It takes a lot to make that happen.
Copy that.
For now, let's just try to cut your legs off. You know, from above. And I can just barely get direct fire against you. Just barely. Just exactly. And I will have it from over here. Alright, that's the position. And we're just exactly hitting the pin for safe heat levels.
All weapons committed.
Alright, show me what you got. She got what?
Warning. Armor breached. Internal damage.
Good to go.
But is she ready for the jumping spider? Yeah, I think the Hawk there is the main threat to what I have going on.
Waiting on you, Commander. Here we go.
Commander. Moving out.
Mostly since I'm going to finish with the quick draw because I've started with the quick draw and it needs to go down.
Here it comes.
And while planning around that, I've left the Hawk undamaged. Meatman's a bit torn up. Ain't nothing Meatman hasn't done before. Two injuries.
Critical damage detected. Warning. Heat exceeding recommended level.
If I can arrange one more pilot injury, if I can knock you over, then I can get the full salvage off a KO.
Commander? Copy that.
No!
Or
Fuel is mine! You can't...
Enemy down.
keep it simple. Meatman's going back in the tube.
Good to go.
Meatman's been through worse.
Moving to position. Got it. Critical hit.
Waiting for orders. Move into position. Acknowledged. Orders? Engaging jump jets.
Already overheated. But this might be when it's worth it to just burn to get the job done. Yeah, we have his back. We have his back in an unarmored center torso.
Firing. Full complement on enemy. Target eliminated.
Ammo detonations. Yeah, another thing that does pilot injuries. Got him. The spider will spend a while in the shop. That's fine.
Damage.
Affirmative.
I'm starting to cook.
Coordinates received.
Needs a moment to cool down so we can jump without exploding. There we go.
Confirmed.
Mission successful.
As protagonist, Meatman cannot be destroyed. Meat will live. Alright, bit over 1 million cash. Down a jump jet, an AC-5, and a medium laser. And yeah, there were no valuable parts in that spider arm. Spider is not using its arms, it's entirely leg and torso. The arms are a distraction. So that's not too bad. That's pretty light cost. I'm not even really using the jets on the blackjack. So, commando part, Jenner part. Yeah, quick draw part. And let's see, weaponry, because sometimes a weapon shows up that's especially good, and it's more worthwhile to secure that weapon than to worry too much about getting more mech bits. Also, we're going to get a lot of bulk salvage off of this, so most of this is going to end up in our pile. Draft this large laser. Large beams are on game. They're on plan. I would like blue beam. And we get dealt 2 LRM-10s, decent. A couple medium lasers, a couple machine guns, SRM-4, some AC-5 ammo. Yeah, that's a haul. 8 million space bucks worth of stuff. Yeah, there were achievements for doing that, and this time they went away properly. Happy to see you again, Meatman. So, this was our boss in the prologue. She is a claimant to a space throne who was betrayed and deposed by her uncle. Our mentor was one of her knights. And everyone was pretty sure she was dead. So about this boat. This majestic dead whale. Product of the Star League. The Space Rome. So yes, this is one of those settings where you got yourself a lot of very powerful and robust technologies that have been abandoned a bit due to turmoil. And are laying all over the place, waiting to be refurbished. The lost tech. Gonna do some revenge. Yes, we're out here in the space periphery, where there are many regional powers rivaling and grappling with each other for control of space territory, space loot. Then there are some larger powers toward the space core. Your spectrum of being a knight versus being a soul sworn. There is honor among meat. Yeah, the debt is a plot device. Kamea is going to purchase our debts, so that instead she will hold that over us. We found most of a Centurion.
That mech you asked for is cleared for fighting.
And also, most importantly, welcome to the real start of the game. Or perhaps not quite yet. Okay, not quite yet. Not quite yet. But eventually, once the Argo is online, then we get to have, like, multiple jobs happening in parallel, more mechs in storage. Couple more missions. We confirmed it. There's a single laser in the middle of this Centurion. Two torso beams, 3 missile slots, 1 cannon, 1 support. We can make something of this. We can also design our flamethrower boat. You know, once the Locust is repaired. It takes some cash and some time to rebuild a mech from nothing. We didn't have another AC-5. I guess a 2 has to suffice. Or, now we pivot to beams. Now that we have beams. Yeah. And a bunch of heat sinks. Better mitigate these beam. .45 sink and a 60 heat alpha strike. Yeah, that seems good. Especially since the larges are going to prefer to engage at a distance. Put that into the queue.
Shouldn't be too hard.
Also, the large beams should probably be in the core rather than in the periphery of the robot. Yeah, arms are more vulnerable.
Right. I'll get it in the schedule.
Although that's all a little bit academic, since this is also firmly into the wind down. Beams, though. Yes, this is BattleTech. "56 days in stasis to rebuild this machine."
On it. I'll let you know.
Those times are going to drop radically. Okay, 110 days until we can rebuild Meatman. He was annihilated. He was pulped. Meatman is a vapor. Alright, so I was thinking about the Vindicator rebuild. And we do have the Centurion now that can just be set up as another solid frontline medium. Give that the AC-5. SRMs, though. What about punching missiles? No need for the machine gun. And then, yeah, that's very heat efficient on its own. It doesn't really need supplementary sinks. A second torso laser. Now we could use a sink. Maybe 48 versus 33. Where I have a ton and a half to spare at full armor. Yeah, alright, one sink. 2 sinks and skim some armor. Yeah, that's a robot. And another month of machine time. Fortunately, we have that cash reserve, so some time can be passed waiting for things to reconstitute. Our expenses are still the same. The company can spend a month or two in stasis while we put things back together. What is in local shops? AC2s, AC5s. Jumping jets. And 1 blackjack component.
New weapon systems available.
I'll take that AC5 back. Crime markets also exist in some places. We aren't there yet.
Yes, Commander.
Training confirmed, Commander.
Standing by.
Waiting on you, Commander.
Training complete.
Standing by.
Mech Warrior training complete.
Waiting for orders.
Yes, everyone should aspire to that 4th point of guts. In due time. Meatman spends 400 years in the isolation chamber. Yeah, so there's these 2 ratings hiding over here in the corner. Tech and medical. While we're stuck in the Leopard, those are fixed. Once we have the Argo, we can invest in upgrading our facilities. So we will get more and faster repair and faster recovery. We will find stronger medicinal goo.
Got a new financial report for you, Commander.
Right, let's do this. Jettison that, and that, and that. Instead, I just had 1 more. I could complete the Trinity here. Right, so for symmetry's sake, leave one machine gun there. Leave the ammo stored in an arm. Or, no, when we're talking this lightweight budget is important. This is equal mass. Equivalent exchange. And so I could just as well... So yeah, this can do cannons, barely, if you want. It has gun ports. For the most part, you don't think about the lighter mechs in this game. A lot of the X factors that are supposed to make light mechs competitive just aren't present very much in the way that this works. Like in Mech Warrior, in the real time, small mechs are extremely fast, especially if you can strap jets to them, and suddenly, instead of a stomp robot, you are... You're very fast. You're in more of a Zone of the Enders situation than a BattleTech situation. In a good jet-focused light mech. Light mechs in Mech Warrior get to play Armored Core. I think I delay the Vindicator refit again. Especially since I've given the large beams I was going to put on this to the Blackjack. Which leaves me a bit low on beams. Unless I were to, like, just absolutely stuff this with mediums. Which does sound like a plan. Ditch the LRMs and have really gross numbers of beams. 89 heat of beams. It's a good number of beams. And right, drop out some of the jets. Trade them into... I'm out of heat sinks. I have to go buy more heat sinks at the shop. And I bother you for a radiator.
New equipment available.
Also, there's jump jets for different weight classes of robot, of which the heaviest jets are much larger. You can put a jet on a small for half a ton. You need more than that to put jets on large bot. I could also sell some of our extra gear. What else have we got piling up? We have a lot of AC2 ammo modules. Although those also weren't worth terribly much. The AC2 is not great. It's there. It is a tiny bullet weapon. It's economical. The problem being, for the most part, we'd rather just inflict far more violence. Yeah, 2 weeks to install beams.
On it. I'll let you know when that's done.
Everything is being worked on. Have to wait at least a month before I have a lance that I can field. That's fine. Drop 2 morale. Temporarily gain 3 tech points. Good, that should help us power through all these repairs. The last coffee. On release, there was a bug that could make this and its opposite modifier permanent on a pilot. Someone could just pick up unbreakable depression from being denied 1 coffee. Well, being denied a coffee and then getting knocked out in battle and then put back together while still low on caffeine. That's what makes it crystallize. Okay, we have a lance at least. We have the locust, we have the spider. Our wonderful jumping spider, which, speaking of, let me look at it. Look at those specs. It can't put weapons in the arms at all. So the arms are very much distractions in storage space. You do 2 beams and 2 support weapons. So if we had small lasers, we could add even more tiny marginal firepower to the core. Otherwise, it's all jets. How much weight is in the arm casing? Not even a full ton. Although that is then weight I could transfer to protecting the head and torso. It's fine as is. The spider is working out. By the time I could, like, revamp the spider, I'll probably have a better jump bot to take over the spider's role. One skill missions now available. One local, one a ways off. 418 is a good amount of salvage. This is very high paying. I think this is the next job. I think if you have very good reputation with a faction, yeah, increased payouts, discounts from shops in their territory. I'll accept this on a 50-50 split. And that will be for next time. Next time, and maybe after... Well, that'll depend. I could just go in with these four. Do a job. Keep the lights on. Knowing that there's already 2 bots in the works. We'll see. Next time.